Wait.
Well, we are live, pals. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Watch Along. Let's try that again. Of the Counted Out Watch Along series. Don't send that to Matthew. I'll be on Botchamania. My name is Tyler, and I am joined by close personal friend of the show and also myself. Mr. Jay is back again. Jay, how are you?
Well, I thought I was Tyler.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? I gotta watch the number of rides I drink while we do these things.
That's fine. I'm on tall can number 3 here, so we're doing good.
All right, man. Well, speaking of doing good, why don't you tell us what we're watching here, Jay?
We're watching a little Ring of Honor. We're watching from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, New York. Kevin Steen versus El Generico. And this was at Fight Without Dishonor, is that right?
I believe it's it's a fight without honor at Final Battle.
I guess Fight Without Dishonor is like an oxymoron, isn't
it? So I know that I know for you, Jay, just from knowing you as well as I know you, that Ring of Honor, you watch it not regularly. How familiar are you with the product at this time?
At this time, from 2010, not at all. I'm Loogie right in the face.
Okay.
I guess Steen thought that was Vince.
Yeah, no shit. Is this Montreal?
Yeah. Not familiar with this time frame at all. Holy cow. We are going from 0 to 60 here. Not familiar with the product at all. Go to a lot of house shows here in Toronto, but don't watch the program regularly, mainly because it's so hard to find it on the tube these days.
Yeah, and I don't even think at this time they were even on TV. Or if they were, their TV deal was just starting. Yeah. So basically, Jay, just to give you a rundown of what's going on here, Steen and Generico are former best friends, tag team partners, tag team champions. Steen has turned on Generico. This is the blow off to part 1 of their feud because they end up rekindling this feud a few years later as well. Final Battle is like Ring of Honor's WrestleMania. At this time, it was one of their bigger shows of the year. So this is a fight without honor. El Generico has put his mask on the line against Kevin Steen's Ring of Honor career.
So what you're saying is that they're no longer building bunk beds for activities.
They were not clearing out so much room for activities. They were not doing karate in the garage.
Rumpus time is over.
Rumpus time is definitely over. Oh, I like that a lot. So this is the blow off. They've had a couple matches before this. I believe at this point, Colt Cabana and Jimmy Jacobs were also involved in this feud. That could have been on part 2 of their feud. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, and these guys, this is a big deal for them because this is, these guys are best friends in real life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, that's historically, if you look at the history of the products, like throughout wrestling history, when guys or gals have a personal connection outside of the ring, it so often translates to incredible chemistry in the ring, right?
Because you're not afraid to lay it in there because you know it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'll speak on some of the people from the show as well. Our good friends at the Ginger and Dutch podcast, Ginger, my buddy Kerr, he's my best friend since kindergarten. I know I could spit in his face in a wrestling match and he'd be like, "You're an asshole. Why'd you do that?" Whereas, if I'm working somebody who I don't have that relationship with, I don't know very good, I'm not going to spit in his face because he's probably going to try to beat the shit out of me for real, right?
Well, aside from you, I don't have a ton of friends myself, so usually I just spit in my own face and I get that.
Do you do the Phineas Godwin where you just spit in the air and catch?
Yeah, but it usually ends up going in my eye, and then I have flashbacks to juvenile hall.
Holy, Steen is pulling. He's busted open already. It's weird calling him Steen now, For me, I was always a big Kevin Steen fan.
Yes. I wasn't overly familiar with him until he came to NXT. And holy cow, he is bleeding something fierce here. Already getting a table set up. Well, it's appropriate being in the Hammerstein, right?
Absolutely.
This is actually quite interesting seeing him in this light. If you look at his career, Kevin Steen, I'm referring to, Kevin Owens, he couldn't have had a better or bigger introduction onto the main roster in WWE with that 3-match series with Cena. And those matches were outstanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got Sami Zayn here, El Generico. Do you think Sammy is short for Samuel?
I would assume
I would think so also.
Now, there's a lot of politics that are going on in Ring of Honor at this time too, and I don't want to speak, too much about it because I'm not 100% on it. But I know that Jim Cornette was booking at this time, or had a big hand in the company, and him and Steen never saw eye to eye. And Cornette kind of wanted Steen out, and so this was part of a year-long storyline that played out to a big Steen return. And there's just a lot of heat with Steen and Generico and Cornette. They didn't all see eye to eye on how this show played out. Cornette was very vocal that he thought Steen wasn't in shape, and which I think is silly because I don't think everyone should look like you're jacked up whatever wrestler stereotype. Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens is more athletic, and his stamina is better than 90% of the roster that you see now,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, well, it's not actually all that dissimilar a philosophy from if you look at the 80s. I mean, in the Federation specifically, I mean, it was just body central, right? And the guys necessarily weren't great workers. Just licking his own blood.
That's sick.
Yeah. I think that there's a place for all shapes and sizes in wrestling. And in fact, I think I long for the days where we had guys like King Kong Bundy and things of that nature, where you had big, huge, imposing, monstrous guys that were just, to coin a phrase, the immovable force or the...
Let's take a look at one of the best wrestlers and most popular wrestlers and biggest draws of all time is the American Dream, Dusty
Absolutely.
Rhodes.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Leader. I like people being different.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the charisma that Owen Steen has, you know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like you're not seeing, you just mentioned a guy like King Kong Bundy, and Owens is nowhere as big as Bundy. Let's
No, absolutely not. No, he's not. And he's 3 times as athletic.
But those big guys aren't doing stuff like you just saw there.
No, they're not doing frog splashes.
And even a guy like Vader. Vader was a very agile big man. He's disgusting.
Yeah.
But he had this demeanor to him, and it's crazy because I was a big Kevin Steen fan. I loved his Ring of Honor stuff. I first got introduced to Kevin Steen through his feud with the Briscoe brothers. I didn't know who he was before Ring of Honor. And there's always been something about him that's captivated me. But I never in a million years thought that he would go on to the WWE, let alone go on and be as successful as he has been in the WWE.
Well, I mean, he personally got the Stone Cold Stunner endorsed by Steve Austin as his finisher.
Absolutely.
I mean, if that's not a ringing endorsement for anybody, then I don't know what is.
Well, and he's one of those guys that's not afraid to speak his mind.
No, he's not.
But he does it. I think he does it in a much more respectful and mature way. Because you always hear a guy like CM Punk is compared to Owens as the way that he is vocal. But I think Owens is, Punk's more outspoken and more of a I don't give a shit type of thing, where Owens wants to learn from these guys.
I think Punk's a little bit more irreverent and disrespectful in the way that he comes across, or sort of he has a chip on his shoulder. And I think Owens does as well, but there's different ways to, it's like the old saying, a lot of different ways to skin a cat, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
So this is interesting as well to see this, there's seeds here of what these two guys have become. Extremely violent thus far. I mean, it's shades of ECW for sure. And I was going to say about Owens as well. I mean, if you look at his career ever since he came to the main roster, I mean, he did that in WWE. I mean, he did that feud with Cena, which really put him on the map. And he did some things here and there. He had some stops and starts. I think his best work was when he was feuding with the McMahons. I mean, say what you will about the McMahons. I know some people love seeing them on TV. Some people hate seeing them on TV. But that headbutt to Vince and then that feud that he had culminating in the Hell in the Cell was unreal to me. I love it.
Oh, boy. Ooh. Oh. I can't agree with you more, man. The McMahons, like you said, say what you want to say about them. When you're involved in a storyline with the McMahon, you're getting TV time and you're getting the chance to prove to them on a first-hand basis what you can do.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that headbutt.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
And he did not hold back on that frog splash either.
That's one of my favorite one of my favorite promos of the last, I'd say, probably five years was, I mean, whether you like or agree with the headbutt and how it was delivered to Vince and all that kind of thing. I mean, the promo itself was unbelievable. The back and forth.
I wish it happened on Raw instead of SmackDown.
Yeah, me too.
because I think it would be remembered, because I forgot about it until you mentioned it. And now that you mention it, I just remember how amazing it was and how blown away I was.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch it probably tonight.
These guys are laying into each other. What's cool about these guys, too, is, they broke in together. They started in Montreal together. Then they came to Ring of Honor together.
Yeah.
They teamed in Ring of Honor, and then they feuded in Ring of Honor. Then they came to NXT. They started out for one night only, at least, in NXT as friends, and then they feuded in NXT. Yeah. Then they go to the main roster. They started a rivalry on the main roster, and then they became a tag team. I love, and I'm sure I'm not going to speak on their behalf, but I'm sure that they are so happy that they've accomplished so much together.
Absolutely. And, there being that kind of rich history from promotion to promotion. It's sort of like the same way when you look at like Steve Austin and Brian Pillman. I think in a previous episode, you were discussing King of the Ring 96 when Brian Pillman was coming to the ring, leaving the ring, and Steve Austin was coming to the ring, and they exchanged that glance. Yep. I mean, it just colors the rich history the two of them have together without them even mentioning the rival promotion or their history as a tag team, their name, the Hollywood Blondes, or what have you.
There's a classy way to do
it. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like a tip of the cap to the history. Oh, pop-up powerbomb. That was beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. There's some foreshadowing, eh?
Yes, without question.
I want to just touch one more point on Kevin Owens, then I want to move on and talk about El Generico, Sami Zayn, because, he's nothing to slouch on either.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens comes across on TV as such a prick and such a piece of shit and such an asshole. I've had the pleasure of meeting him twice.
Yeah.
And his TV persona could not be further from the truth. He is such a nice guy. And you can really see it on his social media as well, how involved he is with his family and how much, he loves and respects his family and always is putting them over, which is, that's what he is as a human being in general. But with his fans, I was supposed to meet him. I showed up SummerSlam weekend in Toronto, and he was doing an appearance at a Toys R Us in Toronto. And I drove down, and I was late, and I had no business meeting him. I should have been there an hour before I was. And he wouldn't stop signing. He stayed, probably 45 minutes longer than he should have stayed and made sure that he signed autographs for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to speak to your point, he, not too long ago, pre-COVID, had a new T-shirt design that came out, and he put a video on Twitter saying that he was going to donate his portion of the proceeds of the T-shirt sales. I believe it was for anti-bullying. I don't quote me on that, but it was some wonderful cause that he was going to take every dollar and cent that he earned from the proceeds of the shirts.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
And it's actually funny because the piece of memorabilia I got him to sign, I printed off a picture, and it says in the middle of it, it says "Fight Forever," and on the top, it's actually Kevin Steen and El Generico kind of throwing fists at each other.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom, it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn throwing fists together.
Oh, that's really cool.
So he was nice enough. He signed the top as Kevin Steen and the bottom as Kevin Owens.
That's so cool.
So El Generico, I am coming for you next, man.
Yeah.
I was so close to completing it. The next day I showed up to it. They did an access signing in Toronto, and I was in line to meet Sammy. But again, I can't be on time for anything. I was late, and I was about maybe 40 people away to meet him, and they switched him out for Elias.
We should just have Elias sign it.
Oh yeah, Yeah. I actually left the line. I was so mad. I was not happy with the Elias replacement. I'm not a fan. I do not walk with Elias.
I was going to say, I guess you walk away from Elias.
Yeah, but it worked out for me because right beside the signing, I felt so bad. Tozawa was there, and there was nobody in his line. So I just went up and started talking to him a little bit. He was a nice guy. And then I said, well...
Code breaker on the chair.
Beautiful. And I said to myself, well, if Sami Zayn just got subbed out, that means Tozawa is going to be subbed out any second. And there's nobody in this line. So I'm just going to stand here and hope that somebody good comes out. Either way, I'm going to be in the first 3 people in line. And sure enough, you know who came out? Ricochet.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was awesome. So I was the second person in line to meet him. And then I looked behind me 45 seconds later, his line was full. These people weren't going to meet him.
Well, he was probably fresh off figuring out what his schedule was main event taping wise for the week.
At the time, he was still good. He was fighting AJ Styles.
I love
now
this.
He's main event taping.
I love this mask, by the way, from El Generico. It looks like he got it from the Avatar collection.
Yeah. No kidding.
So Sami Zayn, his debut on Raw, he was no slouch. He got introduced by Bret Hart in Montreal.
No kidding.
Oh.
Well, and even before, yeah, that's gross. Let's talk even a little bit before he got to Raw. Let's talk about his NXT arrival. Because I'm a Ring of Honor mark. I love Ring of Honor, and especially I started, I guess, falling off of Ring of Honor a little bit shortly after 2010. Oh, Kevin Steen just licked his blood. El Generico's
Kevin
blood.
Steen is really, really raunchy in this match. He's licking blood. He's doing pelvic thrusts.
Like, this was the Kevin Steen this is what I was saying earlier. I'm surprised. I could not believe that he ever got signed.
I think I prefer Kevin Owens.
You like Kevin Owens? Kevin Steen is not scared to. Oh, what a slap! He's a swearing machine. Kevin Steen is rated R. He is the real rated R.
Well, fair enough. I mean, this goes back to a conversation you and I have had a million times, that I have a lot of respect for ECW and what they accomplished, and I love their actual in-ring matches with guys like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, but I have never been a big fan of the ECW product, the hardcore-esque nature of it. To me, it's not what I love about wrestling. I respect that people love it, and I respect the art that's involved with it, but it's just not my cup of tea.
This is about my level that I can take from a hardcore standpoint. Yeah. I don't mind any of this. None of this is bothering me. Everything they're doing is making sense. It's a huge blow off to a blood feud. I get
and that
it.
makes total sense.
Do you see the blood handprint on his back there? That's these guys are. But for me, and I'll talk. I don't know if you've been caught up on our watch alongs, but by the time this airs, it's going to be a while ago. But Mike and friend of the show, Danny Franchise, watched a CZW death match.
Oh no!
And it was featuring John Moxley.
Yeah.
And that's not my cup of tea. The match, I watched it because I have to edit it, and don't think I didn't hear the shit you guys were talking about me when you didn't think that when it wasn't recording time, because I hear it all. No, I'm just kidding. But not my cup of tea. I don't mind a good hardcore match like this though.
There are two
because it's a blow off.
Yeah, well that's what I was gonna say is, so when it's a blow off, it makes sense. It's like if you look at today's logic booking, okay, let's have Seth Rollins defend the title against The Fiend in a Hell in a Cell for their first match. That makes a lot of sense.
Because it's October.
Yeah, exactly. Let's book in reverse so we can sell a lot of those play sets.
Yeah, no, and it ruins the gimmicks, it ruins the stipulations, it ruins the credibility. Yeah. Like these guys
are
at a
T-bone
point
suplex. No, was that a T-bone?
That was a T-bone suplex. You're correct. But yeah, these guys at this point in their feud, they're at a point where a normal match, it's not working anymore. They've tried that. They've done a last man standing. None of it is getting where they need to go, and it's time to get to this level. And there's a reason behind it, and I like that. I like that there's booking that makes sense. This could be terrifying if they pull this off.
I was going for a reverse butterfly, or?
I believe so. Head and arm. I don't know what they call it. Oh my God.
Not good.
Unbelievable. But we were talking about Sami Zayn and El Generico, and I was saying I was so devastated when he got signed to NXT and I found out he was not El Generico anymore. Because I was a Ring of Honor mark, right? I didn't like when Seth Rollins got signed and had to change his name to Seth Rollins from Tyler Black. I didn't like that Bryan Danielson changed his name from American Dragon. I'm just a Ring of Honor mark, and especially at this time frame, this was my favorite promotion. That being said, what a great spot that was. That being said, losing the mask was the best thing that ever happened, and changing to Sami Zayn is the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, remember Sin Cara? Neither does anybody else.
Yeah. So, well, that's it.
I mean, there's some guys that can pull off masks. Those kinds of gimmicks, I don't think are necessarily passe, but there's only certain people that can pull them off. And also, a lot of the gimmicks that would have worked, say, in the 80s and 90s, just don't work in today's product, just by virtue of the product. So somebody who has a mask like a Rey Mysterio, because he has the lineage with the mask, makes sense. But I don't see an El Generico working in. Holy cow!
Oh,
powerbomb into the guardrail there.
So what do you know about El Generico then? Because I know you said you've never seen Steen before, so I'm going to assume you've never seen Sami Zayn as El Generico before.
I haven't. No, he was rather generic to me. No pun intended. Like I had no.
Well, it's funny. That's what his gimmick was. He is the generic luchador. That was his gimmick.
Yeah.
He had some cool stuff though. He used to come out to the, I want to say it's by Bouncing Souls or something like that. That Ole song, you know the song? Ole,
yep.
Ole, Ole, Ole.
That's why they chanted at the shows.
And that's why they chanted still to this day.
Yeah.
He had like a cape that he came out with as well. Like I was a fan of the character. I didn't like it at first, and then I got it. You know what I mean? But let's talk about he signs with NXT, becomes Sami Zayn. What the hell are they thinking?
Holy cow!
I feel like every time we try to talk about Sami Zayn, something crazy happens. Oh, that was awesome.
Felt like
look at the fans caught the table.
I thought Steen was doing an homage to the Public Enemy there.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, yeah, I was gonna say about Sami Zayn. The best match I've seen him do under the WWE umbrella was probably with Nakamura at NXT Dallas, the Takeover Dallas.
Unbelievable match, and that was his farewell.
Yeah,
NXT, but even before
I was in Dallas for that weekend. I didn't get a chance to go to the NXT show, but I remember people just going bananas. Like when I was at WrestleMania 32, all anybody could talk about was that match.
No kidding, eh? What did you do that night instead?
I think I went to Kevin Nash's shenanigans party.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I had a bunch of drinks with Kevin Nash and talked to Mean Gene and drank with Al Snow and sat on the patio and had a rare cigarette with Sabu, and it was an interesting evening anyway.
No kidding. Yeah, that's a cool. Oh,
that was inches from paralysis there.
End of the brainbuster. Wow.
Oh, this is outstanding.
Well, following up on Generico, even still, so he signs with NXT. Even before that Nakamura match, he had great matches with Neville, aka Pac. Now, Tyson Dukes. Where's my mind at? Tyson Kidd, Tyler Breeze, and then his feud with Kevin Owens in NXT. Like he had such a great run, and then like you talked about in Montreal, who introduced him, right?
Yeah, Canada's greatest professional wrestler. I mean. You'd have to say he's at least the most popular wrestler of all time from Canada, right?
Iron Mike Sharp? I didn't think he was
there. No, he was there. He was taking a shower.
Oh, yeah.
He'd been there since the last house show in '89.
Oh, my God.
No, this is not.
Oh, I love the eye gouge. What a heel move.
Oh, my. Oh, boy. I just pulled a cold. Oh, my.
Oh. Wow. What a crazy spot.
It's a good way to spend a Tuesday night.
Kevin Owens always talks about he always comes up with these ideas for these crazy matches, and he's the one that always ends up taking them instead of dishing them out. It's like maybe I should keep my ideas to myself going forward.
He's a generous lover.
No kidding. But then you talk about some bad luck, though. Let's get back to Sammy. You know, he debuts, Bret Hart introduces them, and then what happens? Guy tears his rotator cuff on his entrance.
Yeah.
And he was shelved. You know, he was out for probably 6-7 months. Did he make his return at the Royal Rumble? Is that true?
I don't recall. Some of that mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s WWE, it kind of blends together for me. It's sort of like staring at one of those paintings in the 90s where you have to stare at it to see the picture.
Yeah. Like the mall.
Yeah,
right?
So much of it.
Where's the sailboat?
So much of it just blends together.
No,
so many of the matches, like I feel like the same guys main evented pay-per-views every single month, like the same match. So I can't remember.
Yeah, and that goes to the booking, right?
He looks like Machine from 8mm right now, the way his mask is on.
No kidding.
You ever see that movie?
No, I have not seen 8mm.
Yeah, it's not a family-friendly view.
Well, neither is this match. These guys, take a look at the crowd right now. The crowd's really into it. Obviously, we can't hear them for recording purposes, but
no.
And what do you think of this venue? I love this venue.
Yeah, this is the venue lends itself to these kinds of matches just for the history. Oh
my God,
that was insane! And just in case you don't know, folks, the apron is the hardest part of the ring.
Oh, who's that? Is that Jimmy Jacobs? Yeah. Oh, Steve Corino, my boy. I love Steve Corino. So Corino.
Well, that's he sold that something fierce.
At this point, I believe Corino, Steen, and Jacobs were all involved together in a promotion, a faction.
Nice sell by the ref.
A nice fucking right. Oh, pardon my French there.
That was a great sell by the ref. I don't know who this ref is. I know seeing him at some of the ROH shows here in Toronto that he has a little bit of a rough time getting up and down for those counts. But
he's their like head official.
Is he?
Todd Sinclair.
Yeah, he's he's a hell of a ref though. That was a sell job and a half for that right.
Oh, here comes Cabana. What are you a Colt Cabana guy?
More so than CM Punk.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the guy the way everything turned out for him. He's trying to help out a friend and he gets screwed over in the end. Oh
wow. Yeah, and these guys, like, there was a lot of really intense tag matches between the four of those guys at this time period. And again, Steen's fighting for his Ring of Honor career. Corino and Cabana have their thing going on here. Lots happening here. This has been an awesome match.
Yeah, I've been expecting a couple more run-ins. I was hoping for maybe like a Tom Brandy or a Marvelous Mark Merrill, but I guess I got a lot.
That's your time period, eh? They're gonna put Sable in a potato sack.
Yeah.
Oh, he's spitting his face again. Oh, what a boot.
Oh, my.
And again.
Double kickstands.
And he's spitting his face again. That's like the more intense version of Shawn and Taker, right?
Oh,
look out.
Another crazy bump.
Todd Sinclair.
Yeah, he better have gotten an envelope for this.
And that's how
I love this.
How the feud all started.
Oh, I love that move. Package pile driver is unbelievable.
That low blow is that's what Steen did to turn on Generico.
See that there? I felt that the ref telegraphed that a bit. He was waiting for Zayn to kick out.
Yeah, a little bit.
He was
hesitating.
I thought
the run-in was a little fast too.
Pardon?
I thought the run-in was a little fast too.
Yeah, he was pulling a Charles Robinson there.
No kidding. Little Nate.
Yeah. Taking over for Corderas at 24.
Love Jimmy Corderas.
As do I. Shout out to Jimmy Corderas. If you're listening, Jimmy, we're cheersing to you right now.
Absolutely. Oh, on the chair here.
What do you think what's the worst version of the chair? Is it plastic, wood, or steel?
Oh, the wood.
Oh, I don't know. I think the plastic might be pretty unforgiving.
You think so?
I don't know. I think
Why are these refs just running out on command? Like, I would like there be a little bit of a weight there.
I think so too. I mean, it's almost as if there's like a assembly line back there.
It's Rudy Charles. Is that referee? He's in the AEW now, I believe.
He's Rudy quick on the draw, is what he is.
No kidding.
Look at the dried blood on Steen's face here.
Yeah, that's cool. That looks cool. What are your thoughts about blood in wrestling these days? You happy it's gone, or it's not gone. AEW is still doing it. Ring of Honor is still doing it. Are you happy it's gone on the main stage?
I think it still has a place from time to time. I have a very unpopular opinion as well. Is that I think that on the very rarest of occasion for a really, really big angle, I think that I would be okay with seeing an occasional unprotected chair shot.
Now,
I mean, I'm not saying like Attitude Era stuff. I'm just saying that for something just to get heat, maybe for a Mania angle or something like that, just doing one for shock value, I can see it. I don't think one's going to give somebody CTE, but I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. That's just my personal opinion. But also, if I never see one again, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, fair. The chair shot with the head is such a tough. It's a tough one.
What do you think?
I don't disagree with you, and I don't agree with you. I don't want to see a chair shot to the head because I know the damage that it does, but I agree with you in the sense that, and again, I'm not a doctor. I don't think holy shit. I don't think one, but then where do you draw the line?
That's it. Right? And that's, like, you know what I think it is? I think what it is for me is if I'm able to,
oh, what a great near fall.
That was a great near fall. If I'm able to sort of like articulate what I'm saying, I'm not saying that I want to see unprotected chair shots again. I'd be completely fine never seeing one again. I'm just saying that I think that if they weren't so rampant in the late 90s to early 2000s, I don't know that necessarily it would be something that is so frowned upon today. But because there were so many of them back then,
yeah.
But again, I'm not advocating. I just want to make it very clear that I'm not advocating for unprotected chair shots. I'm just saying that if I saw one for an angle, just one,
we might be seeing
I wouldn't be outraged by it. Let's put it that way.
Well, they did one with AEW. They gimmicked the chair, but they missed the mark, and Sean Spears hit Cody with the wrong part and busted it open.
It's hard to say.
I don't know.
I think the other thing, too, is that the WWE product right now is so anesthetized. I mean, they have these gimmicks like the TLC and the Hell in a Cell and things like that. And I'm not saying that we need to have blood and guts. I'm not saying that we need to have like extreme violence. But to me, it's like those gimmicks lend themselves to that kind of a match. So why have those matches? Like you're not presenting a match that's more creative. It's just matches that are unrealistic. If you're getting thrown off a ladder or through a cell or getting hit with chairs or getting thrown into a steel cage, there's going to be some color. Oh,
holy shit.
Wow.
And that is it. Kevin Steen.
Yeah.
So he actually did take a whole year off of Ring of Honor before he made his return.
That's awesome. That's old school.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the heat with Cornette started. There's a whole backstory to this that's worth checking out.
Yeah.
So you've now seen Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens prior WWE.
Yeah.
Kevin Steen and El Generico. What are your thoughts?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought for my taste, some of the spots were a little bit violent for my taste. Again, and I mean, that sounds oxymoronic based on what I just said about the chair shots. But, and again, I just want to make it really clear. I'm not advocating for chair shots whatsoever. I'm not saying that we should bring them back. I'm just saying that it could be something that, if done correctly, would sort of enhance an angle. But overall, an unbelievable performance.
No, I agree. I thought that match was great. That's the first time I've watched that match in its entirety.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor was tough to watch in Canada at that point. Just watching that, and then, about 7 years later, 8 years later, I guess it was even more than that. Sorry, that was 2010. So what year was your WrestleMania you went to in Dallas? Do you remember?
2016.
So you're talking 5 years later, these guys are making their mark in the WWE. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great throwback to Ring of Honor. And you know what? Ring of Honor's really got some amazing stuff. I would highly recommend going back and checking out some stuff around the 2006 era when Bryan Danielson was the world champion. He had some incredible matches. His feud with Nigel McGuinness was great. They did a great feud against CZW, which was it was some of the best stuff in wrestling at the time. Steen and Generico, the Briscoes. There's some really cool stuff to check out in Ring of Honor. Highly recommend it. Maybe we'll watch another Ring of Honor match at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I might. I would actually absolutely be down for that.
I'll steer you to some good stuff because I haven't rewatched some of the stuff in a while too, and I love Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is one of my favorite. Certain periods of Ring of Honor are my favorite times in wrestling as well. I have three eras for me: the Crockett Horseman era, the '97 Hart Foundation era, and Ring of Honor. Pretty much up until shortly after this era, I was a huge fan of. Those are my three go-tos.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, we've been saying the word honor so much. I feel like one of us is Lieutenant Commander Worf from Star Trek: The Next Generation. We're a couple of Klingons here talking about honor, and today is a good day to die.
Well, as I have the last sip of my beautiful Ryan Ginger that I'm drinking. Have any final thoughts you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Not really. No, I thought it was an outstanding match, and highly recommend watching this feud further. I mean, if this is any indication of what's to come, I am sold.
Yeah, they picked this back up about a year or two later. I don't remember the time frame on it. I know Steen would come back. I think Generico was gone for a little bit. I don't know exactly, but I know Steen comes back a year later, wins the world title, much to the dismay of Jim Cornette in the storyline purpose. And there's actually a show in Toronto that I won tickets to through Live Audio Wrestling. Thank you, John Pollock and Waiting, for that, by the way. And the main event was Michael Elgin against Kevin Steen for the title. Steen wins the belt and then is given a present in the ring, and it's just an El Generico mask, and that signaled his return to the company. So it's cool.
Do you think that if El Generico lived in Toronto, he'd shop at No Frills?
Absolutely. I love No Frills. Just for a sidebar, I'm a No Frills.
I'm a Loblaws guy, but I like to get my canned goods from No Frills.
I respect
Why pay more?
Exactly.
Well, here's the Galen Weston.
Absolutely. So I'm going to bring us home then on behalf of Jay and myself, Tyler, as our good friend Mike would say. We have been counted out.